That's good water, McGlovin.
Welcome back to part 2 of my 6th run of Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Prepare for extra suckage. Now, in the last video I was talking about Black Eyed Peas and how, they once were cool but now they no longer exist in the charts or even in the music industry anymore, since will.i.am's gone, separated from the group and is doing his own thing now, and he's doing pretty well. Well, he did a few years ago, but now he's sort of vanished. Maybe he's taken an actual hiatus instead of just saying he's on a hiatus but not return, like what Black Eyed Peas did as a group. And then I thought, well, I think there was one group that did a much worse job and sort of promised like a big comeback but never did, and that was Steps. For those of you who don't know who Steps are, I'm sure you may have heard of them. Well, it's hard not to have heard of them, especially in the 90s when they were like one of the biggest pop groups, well, in the UK anyway. Basically, it's a group of 5 people, 2 blokes and 3 young women. Most of their songs were like sort of cover songs of like Diana Ross and what else? Like they did like Tragedy by Bee Gees, those sort of cheesy tracks, and added extra cheese to them because the pizza wasn't cheesy enough. The pizza being the classic songs, metaphors, or are they similes? Both are noise. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to do something. Booty pie! There we go, that's my booty pie quota for the day. Hope to do it every time. And if you didn't like that sort of booty pie thing, then skip to this time. And you can skip the booty pie impression, the terrible booty pie impression. So like I was saying, Steps were really big in the 90s. They were always in the charts, everybody loved them, everybody wanted a Steps song, played at their weddings, so every drunk person at the wedding party can dance to it. And I'm dreading the day when, well, I'm not dreading my sister's wedding, but I'm just dreading the fact that she's going to be playing all those songs I don't like. But hey, she's my sister, I love her, and I'll do anything for her, even if it means dancing to doing the Tragedy dance to Tragedy. I mean, my sister was a big fan of Steps when she was a kid, when she was younger, and she used to listen to them all the time. She went to the Steps Gold tour, I think was, with her can't remember who it was. I think it was the aunties and my mum. I didn't go obviously because I didn't really like Steps. I thought they were a bit too cheesy, and I wasn't a member of their key demographic, which was sort of parents and girls, I guess. So anyway, I didn't realise how much of how sort of complicated things got near the end. During their tour, their later tours, they also had sort of went their separate ways. But then at about, I think was it 2012 or 13, one of those, they announced that they were going to make a comeback. And I think they just sort of came at the completely wrong time, when boy and girl bands were just plain shite. I mean, come on, One Direction, The Wanted. I mean, some could even say JLS and Little Mix are just they're just not going to be nowhere near as respected or as successful as all these EDM producers and all these big ballad singers. I just think that was such a 90s thing, and I think it'll be a long time before those sort of boy bands and girl groups, pop bands make a comeback and dominate the charts once again, because I think you find that always happens. I mean, Sagittarius, Penetrative Shot, you find that with most genres. There's a 30-year gap between their relevance. In the late 70s and early 80s, funk was everywhere, and now it's making some sort of comeback thanks to artists like Daft Punk and Nile Rodgers and is it Verdine White? I can't believe he was a featured artist for Flo Rida and Robin Thicke. Well, he must be desperate to get attention if he's gonna coincide with those two. I mean, but that's a story for another day, if you could call it a story. So yeah, Steps were trying to make a comeback. They did by doing some sort of Butlins tour and then sort of split up again. It wasn't gonna last. No chance in hell. Another group that did a very similar thing was Girls Aloud. They were big in the early noughties. Had a few albums and songs. They went their separate ways because Cheryl was, well, not talented. She doesn't really have any talent. She was too pretty for the girls, and so she got the missuccess because of her looks. But even then, she doesn't have those looks anymore, so it's kind of like, you know, what she got now. She's a bit too skinny for my liking. She clearly is very stressed out, being one of the most successful female artists of our generation, or the newer generations anyway. And I don't know, she just seems like a jealous woman, you know, like you see her on X Factor, she's like, oh, I know you have a great voice. I can't do a Cheryl Cole impression, or as she's called now, Cheryl Fernando Bandando, something like that. Yeah, she goes, I know you have a great voice and you're a great dancer and you're pretty, but I just don't want you to overshadow me. I think that's what she wants to say, but of course she has to give a stupid reason like, you're talented, but no. You're like, well, she has everything. She has the right to go through. What? You're just jealous. Why the hell am I watching X Factor anyway? Good thing I'm not watching it this year. I didn't even watch it last year, or the year before, or the year before that. Those guys are really good at necking. Oh, damn it, I did it again. Ah, I made that joke before. Sorry, I didn't mean to do a second PewDiePie impression. I only promised I'd do one at a time, but you know, one per episode, but you know, rules are made to be broken even though they don't have to be broken, so yeah, whatever. You know what those ghosts remind me of? Not Boost from Super Mario World, that's too easy. They remind me a bit of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Because they're doing a new Ghostbusters film, aren't they? They're doing one with an all-female cast. I think Melissa McCarthy's gonna be one of them, and I think Kristen Wiig too. Don't know much more than that. And I haven't even watched the second Ghostbusters, so I probably won't watch that yet. Let's wait until it's made first. Yeah, that would help. The reason why they remind me of it is because the way they spit. You know, like the end of Ghostbusters where Stay Puft's destroyed and all that marshmallow stuff is falling from the sky into cities, buildings and people. Or as I like to call the film after that moment, Cum Busters, because it looks like they're all covered in cum. Very, very thick stuff. I apologise. Ooh, lucky! Good old petrified poop. But I stick with whipworm because the extra speed of my tears, very helpful. The power of fast forwarding clips. You know, I'm just thinking to myself, like, which is better, dark matter or strange attraction? I think it's called, the one that produces magnetic tears, which attracts enemies. That way, it makes it easier to hit them. But then I thought to myself, with some bosses, it makes it a lot harder. So dark matter is probably better. The gate. That is the weirdest looking gate I've ever seen. It's not even a gate; it's just a giant skull with lots of bloody shit on its base. I don't know, that just looked gross. I've also remembered that there are quite a few static enemies in this game. Gurdy, Megamole, the Gate. I guess you could say Mama Gurdy's also a static enemy as well. Mum's Heart, Isaac, well, the first phase Isaac that you face in Cathedral, which I do eventually in this series.
But I guess you have to wait for that.
But it's not quite over yet. Speedball speeding my way now to the next floor to face off against Mama. See you later. We'll see you next time, rather.